Hey guys, welcome to the video today. In today's video, we are going to check out the Dremel Circle Cutter and Straight Edge Guide Model 678. This is a cool looking little attachment, and it did come with my Dremel 4000 kit, but you can purchase this separately, and it has both a straight edge guide, which we have attached now, and then it has this circle cutter piece that we will also attach and test out as well. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at the guide here. So it does have a depth adjustment here up to 3/4 of an inch, and you can just do that by loosening up this knob, and then this goes up and down there like so. You know, you got centimeter and inch measurements, more centimeter on that side, and then you can move, you know, the straight edge guide or the circle cutter piece wherever you need it to be. Let's go ahead and take a look at the owner's manual really quick. All right, guys, here is the operating and safety instructions. Make sure that you read through this completely and understand it completely for your Dremel tool. It's really important that you know how to use it both safely and properly. And then it does have the Circle Cutter and Straight Edge Guide Model 678 instructions in here as well. So has everything we need to know on how to use both the Dremel and the Circle Cutter and Straight Edge Guide both safely and properly. Okay, let's go ahead and see how this attaches. All right, guys, so whenever we both install or remove bits and attachments to the Dremel, make sure it is unplugged. You do not want this to accidentally turn on while you're doing that. That would be very dangerous. So make sure it's unplugged, and if you have a cordless model, just make sure to take the battery out. All right, so we are going to use bit 561, which is the Dremel multi-purpose cutting bit. And the way we attach this one is just to twist off this part here. And then once you twist it off, it just pulls right off. Then we want to hold down the lock button and loosen this up so there is enough space for the bit to fit in like so. And you want to make sure the smooth part of the bit is sticking up 1/8 of an inch from the collet. The collet is the silver piece inside there that you can see. So basically, if you put the bit all the way down like so, and then just pull it out a little like this, and then lock it into place as tight as you can get it with hand, and then we will come in here with the wrench tool, and we will hold down the lock button and get this all the way tight like so. Now let's go ahead and install the attachment. And this just goes right over the top there like so, and then we just twist it into place like that. So then if we loosen this up and move this down to 0 like so, and then we'll tighten that back up. Oop, a little too far. There we go. The bit should be sticking out roughly 1/8 inch past the guide there. As you can see, it is. Okay, let's go ahead and head over to the workbench area, and let's talk about safety. All right, guys, so let's talk about safety. Before we ever turn on the Dremel tool, we want to make sure that we know how to use it both safely and properly. That's why it's so important to read through the operating and safety instructions before you ever use the Dremel tool. We also want to know what safety equipment we should wear. It's important to wear a pair of safety goggles to protect your eyes, a respirator or good quality mask to protect your lungs. When you're making these cuts, you know, that dust and particle is going to come up into the air, and you don't want that in your eyes, and you don't want to breathe it in. You also want to make sure that you wear a pair of earplugs. These tools can get very loud, and you don't want to damage your hearing. You want to make sure that if you have long hair, have it pulled back and out of the way. You don't want it dangling down by the Dremel tool. You don't want to have long sleeves on or dangling clothing or jewelry or any of that type of stuff that can get caught up in the Dremel tool. That would be very dangerous. And you also want to know where your hands are at all times. You never want your hand in the path of the Dremel tool. If it was to slip and go into your hand, obviously that would be very bad and very dangerous. That's why I have this project clamped down here so I can have both of my hands on the Dremel tool. Okay, let's talk about what we're going to do. All right, so this is a scrap piece of 3/4 inch MDF, and I just have another piece below it to elevate it up. That way when we're making the cut, we don't cut into the workbench. We definitely don't want that. We're just gonna make 3 passes here. We're gonna cut a strip off the side here. I'm gonna set it at a 1/4 inch first and make that cut, then come back and do it at a 1/2 inch, and then come back and do it at 3/4 inch. We don't wanna put too much stress on the Dremel. And this is pretty thick, solid stuff. So we'll do it a 1/4 inch at a time. All right, guys, well, there it is. It made a pretty straight cut there. It's a little rough at the beginning and a little rough at the end, but I think that was just me on the entry and the exit. I think the key is just patience and letting the tool doing the work for you, and just go slow and you'll get a nice straight cut. Here's this piece here. You can see it's pretty straight. There's that little, kind of, bump at the beginning there, but I think that was from me, but it's pretty straight, and any imperfections you could just come in here and sand down. So it did what I thought it was going to do. It made the cut. I think it was definitely a good idea to do a 1/4 inch, then a 1/2 inch, then 3/4 inch, on this, because this was pretty solid, and I think 3/4 inch would have just bound up the bit, bound up the tool, and probably would have been much more difficult. So let's go ahead and check out the circle guide. All right, guys, so we have the Dremel unplugged, and we've changed out the straight edge guide for the circle cutting piece. And make sure to refer to the owner's manual, because depending on the size of the circle that you're cutting, this piece goes a different way. So since I'm going to be cutting a smaller circle, the piece is closer to the Dremel bit, like so. I've drilled out 2 pilot holes. The one in the center is for this piece here, and then the one on the perimeter is so that the cutting bit has a place to start. And we're just going to make, we're going to do this in the same way. We're going to make 3 passes, a 1/4 inch, then a 1/2 inch, then 3/4 inch, and cut it all the way through. And we have our scrap wood underneath, so we're not cutting into our workstation. And I'm probably going to have to move the clamps here like halfway through, because this back end of this piece is going to hit the clamps on this piece of scrap MDF that I'm working with. So that's okay though. We'll go ahead and make the cuts. Let me get on my safety equipment now. We'll get the Dremel plugged in, and then we will check out how this works. All right, guys, and we are just going to cut in a clockwise direction. All right, guys, well, what did you think? That was pretty cool, huh? It cut a pretty good inner circle there, and, this circle, it's a little bit rough, specifically where the pilot hole was, so if you were using this, the bigger in diameter this hole gets, or this circle gets, the less impactful that's going to be, and you could just come in here and sand this smooth with some sandpaper. As for the inner circle, look at that. That's awesome. You know, yeah, it needs a little sanding there, but that's a good looking circle there. All right, guys, well, there you have it. We tested out the Dremel Circle Cutter and Straight Edge Guide Model 678. This is a cool attachment, whether you got it in your Dremel kit or you purchased it separately if you had a compatible Dremel rotary tool. This is a cool attachment to have, and I can think of all sorts of applications you could use this for. I do have other Dremel videos where I show how to use other Dremel accessories and attachments. I'll link that at the end of the video. I do plan on making more in the future, so please like, subscribe, and comment. I appreciate you guys. Thanks as always, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a good one. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and if you have the time, check out these other great videos.